I've read hundreds of books, but the three that I'm about to give you right now are the ones that helped me get my head on straight and took me from a complacent 9-to-5 worker living paycheck to paycheck to the top 1% making over $500,000 a month. And do not take what I'm saying the wrong way. You're not gonna read these books and have your life change overnight as soon as you finish them. But gradually, page by page, your mindset will change. And mindset is everything to getting to the top. Now, what I need you to understand before we go any further in this video is that there is a code to success. And some people have figured it out and been able to unlock the code because of the knowledge that they have. And these books are going to give you those pieces of knowledge so that you can unlock that code too. But it comes with preparing yourself for a journey, because there's more than just getting rich. There's the road and choices that help you get there. First thing first, you have to believe that you can do it and stop battling yourself. You then have to have the right people around you and gain connections to help you along the way. And then lastly, you have to put the work in to make the money. Now, like I said previously, your mindset is everything to getting to the top. And the first book that's going to help you do that is The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. This book right here. And if you've never heard of this book, then it makes sense. And that's only because it's just not your typical get rich book. It talks more about the foundational principles for success in any area of your life. And that's done by making 4 agreements to yourself. Now, these agreements might sound very simple to you when I tell you them, but you'll find that while trying to practice them in your everyday life, it can become challenging because, well, you're human. But once you practice enough and you master these 4 agreements, I guarantee you that you're going to be unrecognizable to the people who once knew you, because they know the old you, the emotional challenged you, the sluggish you, the person who just lets life happen to you. Once you master these agreements, you'll be intentional, you'll be in control, and you'll be on your way to creating the success and riches that fit your goals. These 4 commandments are to be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and lastly, do your best. Now listen to that again, because these 4 agreements hit hard, and mastering them is the first step to getting your mindset ready to work towards and accept the success that's coming your way. Be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, do not make assumptions, and do your best. How can you possibly fail if you speak nothing but positivity and growth into yourself? You know that other people's actions are not because of you, but because of themselves. You don't spend brain power making up scenarios with everything that you do, and you put your best foot forward. Focusing on successfully executing these 4 agreements in my life, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, it felt almost impossible sometimes. But as I continued to keep practicing, I started to realize that we're all in the same boat. And I can either talk bad to myself, feel like I'm not doing enough, not care, and think that everyone is out to get me. Or I can choose to thrive. And once I switched that mindset up, once I chose to thrive, that's when my mind opened up to the possibility of being successful, being rich, and to the fact that I could create my own story. I don't have to just let life happen to me. And I know that this book can help you start to unlock that mindset too. And once your mindset is in the right place, it's about the community that you have around you and how you interact with people that's going to help you get to the next level. And that's where the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie comes into play. This book has some valuable information that's going to help you network, communicate, and build connections with people, which will be monumental into your journey towards riches. I mean, have you ever heard that saying? It's not about what you know, but who you know. You should not take that lightly, because that saying is a piece of code that the top 1% have unlocked. The will to network is a big aspect during your journey, and Learn How to Win Friends and Influence People is a book that's going to help you do this in the most organic and fulfilling way possible. In this book, Carnage breaks down a few specific principles when it comes to communication and getting people to like you and want to follow you. And those are the fundamental techniques in handling people. In this section, he talks about avoiding doing what most people hate the most, and that's getting criticized. Instead of constantly complaining or pointing out what other people are failing at, learn how to be encouraging and supportive. This is in the narrative that if you just continue to keep pointing out what someone else is doing wrong, they're not gonna want to do better for you. If you instead encourage them, give appreciation, and understand what motivates them, you're then in the position to get them to do better, which just helps both of you. Carnage then goes into the principles that make people like you, and ultimately, it's a simple technique, which is just to be genuine. He encourages you to be genuinely interested in other people, to smile, to use their name in conversation, to be a good listener, and find a common ground. By doing these things, you're making this person feel important. And just think about it. If someone feels good while you're around, they're going to want to continue to keep bringing you around, which can open up more doors and windows for you than you can imagine. He then dives into the principle of winning people to your way of thinking. And in this section, key points are made that will help you motivate others to see your way of thinking. And more often than not, actually agree with your proposals because of the common goal that you help them see through conversation. And lastly, he brings up the principle of becoming a leader. This section by far was the game changer for me, especially when I opened up my business Supreme Ecom almost 4 years ago. This is the section that taught me how to take accountability before asking anyone else to take accountability. It made me realize that to be a great leader and to be someone that people want to be around, you have to be willing to take some hits. You have to be someone that people feel like they can trust and learn from. And if you can point out your own faults and plan to improve them, then so can everyone else around you. And from that point on, you'll find yourself surrounded by people who believe in the same goal as you and wholeheartedly want to help you reach it. The leadership ability and the communities that you continue to intertwine with is bound to put you in spaces that are built for you to flourish. And when you're in that position, you'll be gaining knowledge that keeps putting you one step closer to unlocking the code. But before you do, you have to actually put in the work. That's where the book that I'm sure many of you know comes into play. And that's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This book is one that really challenges financial literacy, and it's a book that's gonna call you out. It's gonna give you two sides of life. It's gonna take you through the life of a dad who makes decisions and sticks to habits that will keep him poor, and naturally have him pass on these same decisions and habits to his children. And on the flip side, you'll see another dad who makes decisions and sticks to habits that do the complete opposite. This is a book that's really gonna give you the wake-up call that you need, especially when it comes to some of the decisions that you're making that are forcing you to live paycheck to paycheck or staying complacent. It also motivates you to take action with real examples of how to grow your wealth and not limit yourself to the traditional 9-to-5 routine that so many of us fall into. It actually teaches you to think differently about money and gives you insight into how attainable having money actually is with just a few shifts in the way that you spend, save, and invest. This book forces you to realize that where you start with education or money does not have to hold you back from the riches that you desire, but it can if you let it. There's space for you at the top. And these 3 books are gonna help you start to have the mindset, the community, and actions to unlock the knowledge to get there. So if you have not checked them out, I highly suggest that you do. And if you have, take the time to read them again. Who knows how it will hit you this time around? It takes knowledge to change your life around and go from the person with no money in their bank account, rent due, and living paycheck to paycheck, to the new you, making 6 figures a month and living a life that I could only dream of at one point. These 3 books were my stepping stones, and I know that they can be yours too. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite book is and what you're planning on reading. I'll see you all this Friday. This is AC with Supreme Ecom, and I'm out.
They gon' want a piece when you got it like that. Like Jake said,